Hello, this is Elf. Howdy there, partner. This town is big enough for the two of us. Yes. And for today's video, I want to improve on my current art style and also just get better at learning how to do character art studies. So I decided to make a PowerPoint. Let me present it. Oh my goodness. I found all of these pictures on Creative Uncut, which I'll link in the description. So I just kind of divided this into different sections of what I want to take inspiration from. So for the first one is line art. I really like the Fire Emblem 3 House / 3 Hopes art, like the concept art of the lines. And for the other one, I have 2 line art stuff that I'm inspired by. I also added the Persona one because I just like the way that they do kind of like the black shading and stuff. And speaking of shading, along with that, I added the cross-hatching of the JoJo art style, specifically the manga one, because I just think it looks so cool. And there's so much like detail on it that I always really like to look at. And listen, I know we're only supposed to take like one thing from each like type of art and artist, but like I had to add the JoJo shading too, because I just really like how it looks. And also I just have the most fun whenever I'm like shading and like doing highlights for something using like kind of like the JoJo type of art style shading for it. I use these watercolor brushes and they're just like so fun to like layer. So I'm doing that one too. And let's change it up a little bit. The eyes for specifically Genshin, Zenless Zone Zero, and Honkai Star Rail, I like how much detail's in it, so I definitely want to incorporate that. On the next one is the hair. This one's a little more messy because I kind of took just like a bunch of different art from Fire Emblem Heroes, and all of them are mostly done by different artists. So I just kind of picked one that were really similar to each other. I didn't have too much confidence when I was picking these, even though I really like how they look, just because I have a lot of trouble when it comes to shading hair and clothes. So it was a little intimidating, but I was like, I gotta add it because this is what I wanted. And speaking of clothes, this one also has 2, but I thought that they were kind of similar, so I wanted to use both of them. It is the Fire Emblem Echoes clothes shading style and the 999 cover art, because there's a lot of different like folds and stuff on here. And then I feel like there's a lot of folds in the Fire Emblem one too, but I also feel like it's very toned down, but like very easy to tell what's going on. So I thought that both of these would be really cool. So yeah, there's my PowerPoint. And so I wanted to do a little side-by-side because I just like love side-by-sides because I think it like helps like with just like seeing your improvement. So the first thing I did was I just loosely looked at the PowerPoint. I didn't really look super deep into. I didn't really do any like art studies. I was just using the PowerPoint, glancing at it to draw this picture of Maggie from Friendly Facade. I like how I shaded the face, but I don't really like how I did the line art. I feel like there wasn't a lot of, it kind of lacked confidence, and it was a little kind of messy as well. When I shaded the hair, I can kind of tell that I got like lazy with it because I was trying to do this all in one like session, like one drawing session. So I was just trying to like get it done because I remember it being really late at night. I think it's also because the hair, like at the bottom part, is all lumped together. They're not really done in like pieces or sections, so it just kind of looks overall flat. The parts that I do like about it is I like the hand that's on like the right. And I was happy with the bottom part of the skirt and how it was shaded, but now I kind of want to change up just the color of the shading because I feel like it looks very like dull and like more muddy. So yeah, there's a lot to improve on here. So it's practice time. So this is where things get a little hectic because I get off track a lot, but let's follow my speed paint. We're gonna follow this. I took some Fire Emblem Waking art. This came out of nowhere because I just felt like it, even though it wasn't even on my PowerPoint. So I did some practice drawings for that. And then once again, I get distracted because I started watching Kaycem's bootcamp streams, the one where he does like just like anatomy stuff and like focusing on like the face. There was like a bunch of different like streams. So I was just like going down and watching all of them and like following along. And I was struggling with this skull, but every time I drew it like several times, and every time I was like, I'm getting better and better. So these streams are really helpful, but it made me also realize that I definitely need to learn more about anatomy. So I'm definitely gonna find some books and watch more anatomy videos. But overall, this like really helped with like drawing heads and just like thinking about things to like keep in the back of my mind while I'm drawing that I always forget. Like I always like learn something and I feel like I have like a big revelation and then I'm like, this is amazing, I'm gonna use this every day. And then I forget. So I need to like either write it down or just like keep doing it over and over until it's like something that is just like muscle memory that I do. Because I do feel like I have a tendency to like figure things out and then I forget. All right, and then we get distracted again. Okay, because I took a break and then I remember when I was like on a walk, I was like, wait a second, I love blue lock. So I want to do some blue lock sketches. And so I get a little picture of Nagi. And this is the part where I feel like I was diving into just like the art study stuff. I feel like I was doing a good job. So what I did was I just had Nagi as a reference picture, drew a picture, just like looking at it, kind of glancing at it, and trying to follow it the best I could. Obviously, it did not look perfect at all. And so what I did was I overlaid it on top of the reference picture of Nagi, and then I kind of just like used the mesh tool to like align it so it looked like how it was supposed to see like a side-by-side of like what I needed to work on and how like different the two sketches were. Then afterwards, I do a quick trace on the picture and get just like the key features and like use it as like a reference on the side. So there's like two references now. There's a full picture and then there's just like a nice like breakdown picture next to it. And then I finally draw it one more time using both the reference picture on the side for both of them. And I felt like it really helped. And I felt like the difference between the first one and the one that I did last was really good. Like it was a nice like improvement. And I finally get back on track. And I decided to practice the clothes shading. Since I was focusing on shading, I just quickly traced over Clover's outfit. I had a lot of really good brushes for this because I feel like shading is really hard. And I wanted to just try to find like the patterns of shading and just like the different things that I like notice for like all the drawings that are together. But shading clothes is very difficult because like no matter like where they're standing, everything's just gonna be different. So you like really need references and stuff. But I know that like in tutorials, they have lots of like triangles and stuff. So I kind of want to maybe in the future play around with just like making like really prominent triangles and like just playing around with different things that look nice. I don't know. It's a learning process. It's a learning process. But this was still helpful to go over. And then finally, I was like, oh wait, I'm ready to start drawing the last picture. And I honestly forgot why I didn't practice the hair. I think I just kept getting so distracted that I was like, oh, I'm ready. And so that's what I did. In the final picture, I do 2 pre-sketches trying to figure everything out. I was playing around with a bunch of things like adding cross-hatching, using the feature on Clip Studio for like the shading. I really like how I did the hair. Even though like I didn't really do the fire emblem hair, it's very reminiscent of like, I guess like manga style shading of hair, like the like different like lines and stuff. It took forever. It took a really, really long time to do. So, but I really like how it looked. I just am trying to figure out maybe in the future a faster way to do it, but have it look like the same as how I did it here. And then something just like in general that I want to have for my art style is I just want the line art to look really good like by itself. Is like a goal of mine that I really want to accomplish. Like before I add like the shading and the coloring, I just want it to look like a nice like standalone sketch. But for the second one, I was very happy with how it looked, especially compared to the first one. I thought that it looked more confident. The lines were a lot more confident, and I like how I added like a little saturation to the end. I add like a little pink color burn over everything. And I definitely want to try incorporating what I learned from the second one into my art style going to the future.